The alchemy of creativity often unfolds in unexpected sanctuaries, and for Marcus Mumford, the driving force behind the folk rock powerhouse Mumford Sons, one such haven was his own home studio in the rolling hills of the United Kingdom. It was here, amid the pastoral quiet of 2020's lockdown limbo, that Taylor Swift, a global phenomenon whose voice has soundtracked heartbreak and triumph for a generation, found refuge to complete her critically lauded album Evermore. Mumford's recent revelations on the Table Manners podcast peel back the curtain on this serendipitous collaboration, offering a tapestry of anecdotes that blend domestic charm with artistic fire, reminding us that some of music's most enduring works are born not in sterile booths, but in the lived-in warmth of shared spaces. Picture the scene, the world in pandemic stasis, borders sealed and studios shuttered, when producer Aaron Dessner, known for his intricate soundscapes with The National, places a clandestine call to Mumford. "Do you have a discreet recording space available?" Dessner inquires, his tone laced with the urgency of safeguarding a high-profile secret. Mumford, ever the affable host, responds with a mix of curiosity and nonchalance. "Cool. Well, if it's one of your homies, then I'm sure it'll be fine. Like, what if it's Beyoncé or something?" The punchline lands when the identity emerges: Taylor Swift. At 38, Mumford recounts this with a laugh that bridges the gap between fanboy awe and grounded camaraderie, highlighting the surreal thrill of turning his family retreat into a pop empire's temporary nerve center. Swift, then 35 and at the zenith of her re-recording renaissance, arrived not as a diva demanding spotlights, but as what Mumford affectionately dubs, the most phenomenal house guest. In an era defined by isolation, her presence injected levity and luxury into the Mumford household. He regales listeners with tales of culinary misadventures, burned a lot of vegetables for her, painting himself as the earnest chef fumbling through vegan stir-fries or overcharred root medleys, all while Swift, gracious as ever, reciprocated with a killer candle. The detail is delightfully Swiftian. Her penchant for scented sanctuaries is legendary, from lavender-infused tour buses to bespoke Goop-approved aromatics. When co-host Jessie Ware quips, "I bet she bloody did," Mumford's chuckle affirms it, "She did." Her candle game was excellent. It's a light-hearted interlude that humanizes Swift, transforming her from untouchable icon to a friend-bearing diptyque as housewarming flair. But beneath the banter lies the album's genesis, a second sibling to folklore that Dessner helmed with Swift's vision. Evermore, released in December 2020, extended the woodland whimsy of its predecessor, weaving tales of witches, con artists, and small-town scandals into a sonic quilt of indie folk introspection. Mumford reveals that Swift decamped to his Devonshire setup to lay down the second half of the record, a revelation that underscores the project's peripatetic nature. With Long Pond Studio in New York locked down, and Swift's creative momentum unyielding, the UK became an improvisational outpost. Tracks like Willow, with its incantatory strings, or Champagne Problems, a gut-wrenching waltz of regret, likely took shape amid the creak of wooden beams and the distant low of grazing sheep, a far cry from Nashville's neon hum. The collaboration's intimacy didn't stop at logistics. It seeped into the music itself. Swift, ever the collaborator who amplifies her circle, enlisted Mumford for background vocals on Cowboy Like Me, a standout ballad chronicling two silver-tongued swindlers who stumble into genuine love. The song's narrative arc, deceptions unraveling into devotion, mirrors the trust built in Mumford's home, where walls thin enough to hear a neighbor's kettle might have caught echoes of vocal takes. "And then she asked me to sing along and I said, yes," Mumford recalls simply, as if declining weren't an option. His baritone weave adds a rustic depth, grounding Swift's crystalline delivery in the earthy timbre of British folk traditions. It's a seamless fusion, much like Mumford & Sons' own evolution from banjo-driven anthems to the electric edges of Delta. This studio synergy spilled onto the stage in 2023, when Mumford surprised Swift's Eras Tour faithful in Las Vegas with an acoustic rendition of Cowboy Like Me. On March 25, amid the spectacle of her career-spanning extravaganza, the duo traded verses under stadium lights, their voices intertwining like old accomplices. Fans, still buzzing from the pandemic-born intimacy of Evermore, erupted in recognition, a live-wire validation of the album's enduring grip. Mumford's participation wasn't mere cameo, it was a full-circle nod to the unassuming origins in his UK haven, where creativity thrived unchecked by fame's glare. To appreciate this chapter, one must contextualize Swift's 2020 pivot. Scooter Braun's acquisition of her masters had ignited a reclamation fire, birthing folklore as a quarantine-sparked departure from pop gloss. Co-written with Bon Iver on Exile, and Dessner on ethereal vignettes. It earned Album of the Year at the 2021 Grammys, the first for an indie-leaning surprise drop. Evermore followed suit, a sister album doubling down on narrative depth. No Body, No Crime as a vengeful country noir thriller, Ivy as a clandestine ivy-clinging affair. Mumford Studio, with its analog warmth and familial vibe, provided the ideal cocoon for such vulnerability. Dessner, a linchpin in both artists' orbits. He produced Mumford & Sons' Wilder Mind in 2015 and recently helmed their 2026 single Rubber Band Man, with Hozier, facilitated this cross-pollination, his national adjacent sensibilities bridging Swift's confessionalism and Mumford's communal ethos. Mumford's anecdotes also illuminate the human side of stardom's machinery. Hosting Swift meant more than unlocked doors. It was a dance of discretion amid paparazzi whispers and fan fervor. Yet, no tales of diva demand surface. Only shared meals, laughter over singed suppers, and the quiet thrill of watching genius unfold. This aligns with Swift's lore as a generous collaborator, from inviting Phoebe Bridgers to tour to crediting Alwyn, her then-partner, pseudonymously on folklore tracks. For Mumford, father to 3 young children and husband to actress Carey Mulligan, the intrusion was a gift, a reminder that art flourishes in domesticity, not despite it.